Hi, it's Aaron from the Mind Body Project. Welcome back. Thanks for following, liking and subscribing. So I do read all your comments, so please keep them coming. So we're talking about decision making, being in negative emotions plus decision making equals bad decision making. Yeah, because why? Because you only have access to certain parts of your mind. Yeah, so the more emotional you are, the less your mind is actually working. So that's why meditation and any alpha state activity or theta state activity, what I mean by that is things like meditation or visualization or just sitting there, relaxation techniques, self-hypnosis or hypnosis, design human engineering, neurohypnotic repanning, NLP, any timeline therapy, anything that involves you going into a relaxed, deeper state is actually going to help your mind actually work more. Now, you'll have more access to your brain when you do that because you're in a better state. So that's why emotions, if you're emotional all the time, especially negative emotions, you're going to make bad decisions. So what are we going to do? So what do you do if you find yourself in a negative state then? What do you do? The first thing, as I said, you have to recognize that you're in a negative state. And most people do not, because you run 90% of the things that you do are 90% automated. You run in an automatic pilot. Once you have such a brilliant learning machine, you are such a brilliant learning machine, humans are, that you learn things extremely quickly and then automate them. Yeah, so it's just automated. You just run things because it saves energy. That's how brilliant your brain is. But some things you do and learn and you don't really want to. So what do you do? And essentially you have to break these patterns. Yeah. Now, how you break these patterns, or what you would do is, if you find yourself in a negative state, here's a list of things that I would get you to do, or you could do. The first thing is going for a walk. So once you realize that you're in a negative state, then you have to change your physiology. That's the first thing that I come to. Negative state, right, physiological. This is essentially what doctors do. They give you a pill which changes your chemistry, which is basically physiology. I'm putting it under that category, but that's what they would do. Yeah. Some people may eat, which is changing your physiology. I don't want to talk about it. Let me just go and eat something, or smoke something, or drink something, or but those things do not serve you well. Whereas going for a walk, or that will, especially if you're just going out, just going somewhere, just go for a walk. So that's number one. Meditation. I've already said that. Meditation. If you're in a negative state, then that's something that you can do, because what you're going to do then is you're going to change your focus. Yeah. Now that may be pretty hard to do if you're, depending on how high that negative emotion is. That may be a difficult thing to do. And usually the first thing that I would do is change your physiology. That's what I would do. But that's a way of doing it as well. You can sit there and do that, and that will still work out as well. You can still do that. Gym, which is a physiology. So you go into your physiology again. That's what I would do, and that's what a lot of people do when they're stressed out. That's what they go to. Yep. But you need a way to do that. Now, what the gym does is it not only does the physiology, it changes your focus, and a lot of the time as well, it's changing your internal dialogue as well. So it does all of these things, because when I go to the gym, I'm listening to music. So I'm listening to music, I'm changing my focus because I'm focusing on what I'm doing, and I'm changing my physiology. So all of those things are affecting my state. So gym's a really good thing, or exercise is a really good thing. Hydration. So water. A lot of people are going around, you may be one of these, they're going around dehydrated and not even know about it. Dehydration. 1% dehydration equals 5% loss of performance, and 5% dehydration equals 30%. So almost a third of your energy levels are going to be down. And if your energy levels are down, then you're going towards a negative state. So hydration, making sure you're hydrated, especially in the mornings. You need to drink. On my depression course, I'm telling people you need to drink about 1 litre of water when you wake up. It's the first thing. One of the first things you should be doing is drinking that, because you dehydrate at night. Okay. Number 5 is an anti-inflammatory smoothie. Now, if you want to go and learn how to create one of those, let's see if you can test out my ones. My green smoothie. I know a few of you have tried it, but you can go to the YouTube page, and you can go in. If you're already on the YouTube page, just look up smoothies, or look up this 7-day detox and look at the beginning of that, and you'll see me creating it there. I'll show you how to do it. But remember what we said, negative emotions are going to create inflammatory responses, and we want anti-inflammatory stuff going on there. Especially if one of the negative emotions or negative states is depression, then you want to deal with that through anti-inflammatory stuff. Trust me, a lot. Doctors, especially functional medicine doctors, will use a lot of aggressive nutritional strategies to help with disease at the moment. So look them up as well. NLP Nuco games. So NLP Nuco games deal with this, and this. Yeah, they're one of the best things that I've seen out there, which you can use at a very quick level, because they deal with your physiology. They're going to change your breathing. They're going to change your physiology, what you're doing. You're using cross hemisphere, so you're getting your brain to work a lot better. You're changing your focus, because I purposely create the games so that your focus is being dealt with as well. And then your language patterns, I deal with that as well. All of those things are dealt with, and they all create a high performance state. So it's done in such a way that you've got grades, so different conditions that you go up, and the better you're doing, the higher the performance level you're going to get, and the higher performance state level. So those are things that I use, and I'll be using those a lot on the depression course as well. But they help with breaking the patterns very, very quickly. That's near enough what I always use, because they're so, and I use them on myself all the time as well, because I love testing them. So yeah, NLP Nuco games, high performance games. They create high performance states and break all of these patterns. They take you out of that state pretty quickly. Personal development audios. So what we're dealing with here, we're dealing with language patterns and focusing. Yeah, so you're focusing, because what they would do, especially when you listen to a very good motivational speaker like a Les Brown or Jack Canfield or Zig Ziglar or Tony Robbins, when you're listening to those guys, their language that they use is actually going to make you focus on how good you are, what you can do, and make you write down what you actually want rather than what you don't want. So that's something that you could do, and there's a list of things that I put again on the depression course, which is a morning routine, which you'd actually go through to actually break those patterns as well. So that is personal development audios. Changing focus. So changing focus. So that's number 8. So that's obviously changing focus. So you're focusing on different things. So you look at things in perspective, or look at it from what we call perceptual positions. So in other words, looking at it through your own eyes. Okay, now let's look at it through their eyes, which most people don't do this, by the way. It's a very, very quick way of changing focus. Look at it through their eyes. Now look at it as an observer. So pull yourself back out of it. Take the emotions out, the first person perspective out. So looking back and go, which is what I get you to do on the NLP Nuco games. That's what happens on the NLP Nuco format is done like that as well as a lot of the NLP stuff as well. That's all done like that, from moving you from changing perspective and changing to this perspective, that perspective, this perspective, because it really changes what your perception of the event. So what we got now? Number 9. So asking powerful questions. So that's going to change your focus. Yeah, asking questions. It's going to change you. There's these Tony Robbins questions, 6 questions I go through on one of the modules on the upcoming depression course, which I used to get myself out of things because I have to focus on specific things. It changes your focus. But yeah, if you're asking, most people, you're going to have a dominant question that you ask yourself every day. So what are you asking yourself every day? What's the question? What's your dominating question? And what you need to do is does that question that you ask elicit a really empowering outcome or a limiting outcome for you? So you need to just make sure. With the personal development audios, if you're listening to some of the speakers, they'll give you good questions to ask about yourself as well. Focus on your vision board. So that's going to change, obviously, your focus. So when you go into that state. The other things as well, when you're doing that, especially the way that I do it, is you're going to go into an altered state, which is going to change your physiology as well. So you're going to change those. So you've got a vision board. So there's a exercise on the personal development master's course, and there's the mindset course, ultimate winning mindset course, should I say, where you would actually write down all the things that you want to experience in your life. You write them all down. There's a specific strategy around it, and then what you do is then you find pictures, and then you put them on your vision board, and then you sort of focus on that every day. Okay, so that's another thing as well. And number 11. So I've got a load of these. So a load of the things that you can do. Look. Writing down. Yeah, so that was the thing, writing down experiences you want to have. So that was number 11. So write down experiences you want to have and then put them on the vision board, which I've already said. Self-hypnosis, again, that's going to take some training or some skills. But whilst you're doing that, self-hypnosis will actually take you into a altered state. So that's going to be language, focus, and then your physiology, because your breathing is going to be changed as well. So hypnosis, when you go into lower brainwave states, so in other words, your alpha or theta brainwave states, you have more access to the mind, therefore you can make better decisions. Remember, negative emotions equal smaller fraction of what you're capable of, and therefore you make very limited decisions, and usually bad decisions, which then make you feel bad, and then you make more bad decisions again, and then go around in circles. So self-hypnosis is going to access the bigger part of your mind, more of your mind, so you can actually do more and make better decisions. Press-ups. So this is with the exercise again. So, hey, I'm in a negative state, just get on the floor and do some press-ups. Straight away. That's an immediate thing that you can do. Feel angry? Right, I'm going to do 20 press-ups. There you go. Just do 20 press-ups. Straight away. What's that going to deal with? Physiology, focus, but physiology, especially physiology. Yeah, straight away. You're going to deal with it. Yeah, physiology is one that I use the most to break the patterns, but physiology. Jogging, so go for a jog. I did that when there was one time I was really, really stressed, so I just went, I'm just going to go for a jog. But these things serve you well. They're not like they have a negative effect later on. These things serve you well as you're doing it. Yeah, so jogging. Dancing. So just start dancing. Just go dancing. There's a load of my friends who go dancing. They love it. They just go dancing all the time, and it really, really puts them into a very positive state. Or just do it around, just put some music on around the house, and then start dancing. There you go. Which is music, which is the next one. Yeah, put some music on. Which is number 16. 17, then you can start singing to the music. Singing and dancing. That's going to change your state. What's that going to do? If you're singing and dancing, then you're doing physiology, and then you're doing focus, And then you're doing language patterns as well, all of it. You're taking care of all of it, which is going to change your state. Yeah, and is it negative for you in any way? Does it cause harm to the body? Does it cause inflammation to the body? No. So it's another good thing to use. Video game. And so that can, what I used to do when I was at uni and I had so much work to do in that final year, and I had so many I had piles of journals because I was doing a dissertation on creative problem solving, and I had so many of those, and I needed a break. I know I was enjoying it. I was really enjoying the dissertation because I was finding out more about me and the mind, but I needed a break, and I knew that I was in a negative state. So what I'd do was just play a couple of games, and it would change my focus, and then change my language, what was going on in my head. Wouldn't necessarily change that, but it changes it. Does that do any harm to you? No. But does it do anything amazingly good for you? Not really, but as I said, it will break your pattern, so that's something that you can do as well. Comedy, go to a comedy club or put on some comedy. Laughing is going to change your focus, it's going to change language patterns, and it's going to give you especially new connections, focus on what you're focusing on, because a lot of comedy, if they do it well, they actually focus on real world things and ideas, and actually make you think about a load of things that you may be struggling with, but like in a different way, different light. So it's going to change your focus. And then physiology, because you're going to be breathing differently, laughing. So that's something there as well. Trip to somewhere new. Your brain loves when you do new things because it's like input. It's like short circuit. It's like input. Your brain loves that when you do that, and it sees it as a something new. It has to learn something new, which then puts you into, because you're focusing on something new, you go into a new state. Physiology, because you have to walk there or do something to get there, so that changes that as well. Language pattern, not so much, but it will change as well. It'll help to change that as well. Shopping, that's another thing you could do. Now, depending, good or bad, depends how much money you got, but shopping is going to make you walk around. So you're changing your physiology, you're changing your focus because you're focusing on other things, and if you're going on your own, which then language patterns are not going to be that much different. But again, you can listen to music as you're going round, or you could be going with someone, so it could be, that could break that as well. So I changed that. Juggling, that's a really good one. One of the things you can do as well is just throwing a ball from one hand to the other. And one of my games starts off like that, just throwing the ball, getting a ball, just throwing the ball from one hand to the other hand. Yeah. That's going to change your state as well. What's that doing? Physiology, focus, because you have to go into an altered state. You know what? Well, I was one of the models at my NLP master practice. In fact, I did 2 master pracs in the end because I was assisting on one. But what I didn't realise that I was actually going into an altered state as I was juggling. I didn't know. So they learned how to model me juggling, and my state had changed. So, and that's from juggling, because the physiology was different, focus was different, and language pattern wasn't really different, but those two things definitely changed, which then changed my state. Any sport, go and play any sport, go and do any sport, because you're changing your physiology. All of them are going to be changing your physiology, probably going to change your amount of water that you want on board as well, which is going to keep your energy levels up. Your breathing is going to be definitely different. Usually when you're running or chasing something, then you do cross hemisphere. Yeah, you're running like this, so it's cross hemisphere, and therefore that's going to create a really good high performance state as well. So physiology, that's going to change your focus, it's going to change your language patterns as well. So any sport is going to do that. Deep breathing exercises. So what's that going to change? Your physiology. So deep breathing. That's going to change your as I said, your physiology. So as you do that, all of a sudden, so if you do 10 of those, that's one of the things that I would get people to do with depression in the morning. That's one of the things, is get oxygen into your body, because it changes your state. So it changes your physiology, changes your focus. Not so much a language pattern, but that's why you do meditation and things with it as well. There's a way of doing that with mindfulness. Sex. That's going to change your state, isn't it? So that's another thing. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but so that's another thing you can do. And the other one is sleeping. So sleeping, that's going to change your state, physiology, focus, and language patterns. So making sure you have enough sleep. There's been a lot of research on sleeping, and you need to have around about 7 to 9 hours sleep. If you don't have that, then you're going around sleep deprived. Now, if you're going around sleep deprived, there's been a lot of research on this, it actually shuts down your decision making part of your brain. Now, your rational thinking, you can't do it. There's some big businesses who know this now, and they've changed to adapt to make sure their employees get that amount of sleep. They actually focus on that in their well-being departments now. Because of that, it makes a big difference, especially when you've got executives and that flying across, and they've got jet lag, and they have to do make some big decisions or do some negotiations or something. They make sure that that's taken into account now, because it makes they're making multi-million pound decisions, and they have the part of the brain that's supposed to be helping them with that is switched off, so they're making stupid decisions, and losing them loads of money. So now they actually take that into account when they're when they're doing all of these negotiations or traveling anywhere as well. And that should be something that all businesses need to be taken into account, because their productivity's gone up dramatically because of that. So you need to make sure that your staff are actually having around about 7 to 9 hours sleep a night, because if they're not, then especially those who have to do night shift to day shifts, if you're doing that, there needs to be some sort of strategy to make sure that your staff are sleeping properly, because if they're not, then your brain doesn't have enough time for your short-term memory to go into your long-term memory. It doesn't have enough time to do that if you're not having that amount of sleep. And you're going around sleep deprived, you're going to forget things. You're going to be very forgetful. You're not going to be performing. There's no way you can perform at a high level, a high performance level. Your productivity is going down, and this is being researched very well. So you need a strategy, you need a way of making sure that that happens properly, because your rational part of your brain is gone down, as well as the other areas of your brain are slowing down as well if you haven't got the sleep. So sleeping is another one as well. So those are the things. So that's there's quite a lot there, and there's a lot more that you can do, which can actually help when you're in a negative state. So let's just go through that again. So the first thing you have to do is you have to know that you're in a negative state. And there are a lot of you out there now that you're in a negative state so much you don't know any different. You don't know any different. And the question that you need to ask yourself is, am I having fun? Am I having fun right now? And if you're not, then you're probably in a negative state, or not in a very productive state, and therefore you need to do something about it, and just recognize it. And then you have to make a decision to actually, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to do something about it, or are you going to stay the same? Are you going to do you want to continue in that way, or do you want to move forward and do something else? Are you enjoying your life? Are you heading in a direction that you want to head into? And if you're not, then maybe you need to do something about it. But you need to recognize that you're in a negative state, and therefore you do not want to make any big life-changing decisions. If you know that you have if you're in, if you things like anxiety or depression, if you know that you're in a very depressed state, then you do not want to be making big decisions in that state, because they're only going to lead to something bad. That's the thing. It's going to be negativity, and you're going to create more of it. And this is what people do. They make decisions in a negative state and create more chaos or more negativity in your life. That's essentially what's happening. To stop that, you need to do something different. It's, hang on, I'm not going to make any decisions until I've done something that affects these to change your state. That's what you're going to do. Then after you change your state, then you're going to make decisions. For those of you who say, listen, I'm always depressed. No, you're not. No one's always in a depressed state. Yeah, those who say that have never done, meditation or anything like that, because I know you know that your state changes from second to second almost. So that is what you need to deal with as well. But thank you very much for paying attention, and I hope that you've learned a lot from that, and you'll start taking some action to make sure that you're in a positive state before you make any decisions, especially big ones. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next videos.